The first ever 12-team college football playoff is here, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for this one. Let's get straight into my predictions for the very first round. We're kicking things off with a Friday night game, the Battle of Indiana, where the Indiana Hoosiers are taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And for the first round, these are actually going to be home games. So this is a Notre Dame home game. This atmosphere is going to be electric. And this game is going to be something else. I've been pretty critical about Notre Dame this season. I kind of thought they were frauds. To a certain extent, I believe they have fraudulent tendencies. I wouldn't call them frauds, but they have fraudulent tendencies. That loss to Northern Illinois was horrible. Horrible. The worst loss of the college football playoffs. I should say the college football season in general, by far. The worst loss of any college football playoff team. That was bad. But I'll give credit where credit's due. They had a big win against Texas A&M in week 1. They beat USC. They beat Army. Did they have a pretty cupcake schedule besides that Texas A&M game? I would say yes. But they passed all the tests except Northern Illinois somehow, some way with flying colors. The team in general, the quarterback, Riley Leonard, he can run, he can throw, he can do his thing. The running game is effective. Marcus Freeman is a decent coach. I personally think he's a bit shit, but apparently he's not that shit because I'm hearing he's getting NFL offers. And that's crazy. If an NFL team hires this guy, they deserve to lose. Y'all remember how bad Urban Meyer was as an NFL head coach? This guy would be even worse. But Notre Dame, they bagged up the 7th seed, and they're playing number 10 Indiana. As for Indiana, the greatest season in Indiana Hoosiers football history, a basketball school who's now slowly turning into a football school, Kurt Cigarette is a game changer. He turns programs around, and he has turned this program upside down. Upside down. They are 11-1. They've beat every single team they played, and I mean damn near destroyed every single team they played except Ohio State. And what can you say? Fine, it's Ohio State. They're a good team. Indiana's offense is spectacular. This quarterback for them, whatever his name is a killer. He's a killer. I can see this being just a pure offensive shootout. And the reality is if Indiana wants to win this game, they have to make it an offensive shootout. However, I don't believe Indiana has the talent to win this game. Can they win this game? Potentially. But I don't think they will. While it will be very high scoring, offensive, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, Notre Dame's defense is good enough to make the clutch stops. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Notre Dame is going to make the clutch stops when it matters. With that being said, the spread is too big. I don't like it. It's 7.5. That's a whole ass touchdown. And I don't believe Notre Dame is capable of beating this Indiana team by more than 7 points. I really, really don't. So with that being said, my official pick will be Indiana covers the spread. Notre Dame wins the game. Notre Dame's going to have a ritual at halftime. They'll probably baptize somebody, throw up a prayer. Indiana's playing against Jesus Christ here. Let's be honest. But the offense for Indiana will keep them in this game. And the more I evaluate this game in general, the more I'm excited for it. Probably my second or third favorite game this week. Notre Dame could make a run, and I will get to that when we get to that, but they have to pass this test first. And it will not be an easy one because we know Kurt Cigarette does not go down without a fight. I am going to bet Indiana on the spread. That's going to be my bet. But I believe Notre Dame will be the team that pulls it off wins and advances to play Georgia. Official pick, Indiana covers, Notre Dame wins. Next game. Now we get to the first of the Saturday games, SMU versus Penn State. Penn State has had an interesting season. They beat all the shit teams, but lost to the good teams, which is honestly the story of Penn State's life ever since Joe Paterno and Sandusky got caught doing what they got caught doing. Penn State loses to Ohio State in a tough one, a game that they could have, I don't want to say won, but in a game that they could have played a lot better in, and then they lose in the Big Ten Championship to Oregon. The Penn State rapists have not shown me that they can beat good teams. So now the question is SMU a good team? SMU, 2 losses on the season, have pretty much just been on fire, on absolute fire, ever since they lost their first game up until recently where they lost the ACC championship to Clemson. That game was weird. I'm not going to take too much away from SMU. They started out like shit. They were getting blown out, but then they willed and fought right back in the game. They tie the game up and end up losing by a field goal, like a crazy 50-something yard field goal, in which, they could have stopped, and I think they got a little ahead of themselves, thinking, oh, we made the comeback. Oh, we're going to go to overtime and take care of business. This is a tough game to predict. But more importantly, one thing that needs to be taken into account is, remember, this is a home game. SMU has to travel all the way up from Texas, which is nice and warm and cozy, all the way to State College, where it's going to be fucking freezing. Pennsylvania is going to be disgusting there. It's going to be so goddamn cold. If you don't know what the Northeast winters are like, those shits are fucking nasty. It's going to be so bad there. I feel so bad for anybody that's going to go to this game. And the funniest part is, this stadium is going to be packed. It's going to be a whiteout. They're going to be playing Mo Bamba left and right. And that will be the key to this game. Do I want to pick a team full of rapists? No. But will I have to? Yes. Penn State is going to win this game. Penn State is going to cover the spread. They have to win this game. Otherwise, James Franklin might be burned at a stake. The man will not make it out of the stadium alive if Penn State loses this game, because they will not have shown anything, not only this season, but under James Franklin's entire reign as the Penn State head coach. They have to win the big ones. If they win the big one, which would be a big one here, SMU's a good team, they would be setting themselves up for a good run, because now they would be mentally prepared to play against the stronger teams. And if I'm not mistaken, winner of this game has to play Boise State. And Boise State is not a pushover. They're going to run the ball down your throat, and it's going to be a tough matchup for either SMU or Penn State. But the key to this game, the true key to this game, will be the home field advantage for Penn State. If this was a neutral site game, I would probably lean more towards SMU. But the fact that it's going to be a home game for Penn State, all the fans are going to be there going crazy. They might let Sandusky out of jail to coach this game. That's how crazy this game is going to be. I'm going with Penn State to win, Penn State to cover. SMU's good, but I don't believe they are talented enough or experienced enough to go into Penn State's home and beat them in that cold-ass weather. It's going to be, I feel, a bit of a low-scoring one. The over-under, in my opinion, is a little bit high. It's 54.5. I'm not a big fan of this over-under. I can see it being a slower game, more of a running game, especially if Penn State wants to win it. Penn State has to slow the game down and dominate, and that will be their key to success. If they want to play this fast-paced style of ball, they might lose exactly how they lost to Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. They don't want that. They want it to be ugly and low scoring and let SMU freeze their asses off. I'm going with Penn State to win, Penn State to cover. I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I might sprinkle a little some on Penn State's spread. Penn State setting themselves up for a date with Boise State. Next game, the second Saturday game, Clemson versus Texas. You guys know how much I care about this game. You guys know how vital it is for the Texas Longhorns to win this game. For me. Clemson is dog shit. I'll say it once. I'll say it again. Clemson is dog shit. They've beaten nobody. Their only good win is versus SMU. And I will die on a hill saying this. Every SEC team that they played, they lost to. They got bullied, right? Georgia whooped their ass. I mean, literally took their pants off and did unspeakable things to them in the first week of the season. And then in the last week of the regular season, South Carolina was looking down and out, and all of a sudden, boom, they come back, storm back, and beat Clemson. The only reason Clemson was in the ACC championship was because Miami is dog shit. That's the only reason. Clemson is going to get their ass handed to them by Texas. Texas is going to win the Natty. I'm going to keep glazing. I'm going to keep meat riding. I am confident in my pick. I was confident in my pick back in June. I'm confident in my pick today. Clemson has a good coach. They have a decent quarterback who can run the ball. Okay, I'll give Clemson the credit that they deserve. But besides that, how do they match up against Texas? Y'all seen that Texas defense? That Texas defense is going to eat Clubber Lang alive. They're going to eat this Clemson offense alive. The secondary is top notch. The D-line is great. The linebackers are great. We all know how good Texas defense is in general. Forget about the fact that it's an SEC defense. In general, they're better than Clemson. Offensively, I'm a little bit concerned about Texas's offense. I'll keep it a buck. I did a lot of meat riding and glazing this last, couple minutes, but I'll keep it a buck. Quinn Ewers is type shit a bum. He may cost Texas this natty, and I will be very upset and very angry if he is the reason why they lose. I don't know if Arch is the answer. Arch may have more raw talent, but he sure as hell does not have the experience. Let's not forget, this is going to be Quinn Ewers' second playoff game. He was in the playoff last year, and they played pretty well. I got to give them credit. They played very, very well last year versus Washington before ultimately losing. In any case, Quinn Ewers will not get exposed by a bum-ass team like Clemson. He will not. He will show up to play, and the Texas Longhorns will annihilate Clemson. Clemson is mid. Clemson is garbage. They're lucky they're even in this position. They should be playing in a bowl game right now, not with the big boys in the SEC. Also, it's a Texas Longhorn home game. Weather obviously does not matter here. Clemson is South Carolina. Texas is Texas. You know, the weather's not going to mean shit. It's probably going to be beautiful weather, actually, for football. I want to be at this game. That would be crazy if I somehow ended up here. I won't, but it'll be crazy if I do. Texas will have the home field advantage. The fans will be loud. They'll be rowdy, and they'll be backing their boys. I'll be backing my boys because they're going to cash me out, and I'm going to be rich as fuck after they win the natty. But before they win the natty, they have to win this game. They have to stay focused. Sark can't let the bullshit that happened in the SEC championship happen again. They need offense. They need to score. They need to put up points. If they don't put up points, they have no chance of winning this. Field goals don't win championships. Touchdowns do. The Texas Longhorns will win this game, and they will cover with ease. I will not be betting this game. I already have more than enough money riding on my futures. Maybe, just maybe, I'll bet another Texas future. I actually really have my eye on another little cute two-leg parlay, a Texas future to win the Natty. I think they're like plus 360, maybe on some books plus 400. Parlayed with Alexander Usyk money line. For those of you that don't know, that's a boxer. He's fighting Tyson Fury on Saturday night. That should be a great fight. I think Usyk has the edge, and Usyk will beat Fury. So I'm not sure if I will. I'm still thinking about it. I have to be responsible, but I'm thinking about doing another little two-leg parlay to add another couple thousand to my repertoire. Texas will win. Texas will cover. Horns the fuck up. They're winning the Natty. I know it. Next game. The final game. The night game. And the best game of this first round matchup. Tennessee versus Ohio State. What an absolute fantastic matchup this will be. I love it. I really do. Ohio State has a loss to Oregon, a close loss to Oregon, and then an embarrassing loss to Michigan. That was just a complete collapse. Crying Ryan showed his fraudulent tendencies in that game. Tennessee, funny enough, is actually very similar to Ohio State, where they have a loss to Georgia, which is like a legit loss. You can't take anything away from them. You know, Georgia's a great team. Obviously, they won the SEC. And they also have a loss to Arkansas, which is one of those games. It's like Tennessee slipped up. They should have won that one, but they shit their pants that night. Whatever. In any case, Tennessee has had a successful season, and Ohio State has had a pretty successful season either. Also, now, would you argue that the Big Ten is easier than the SEC? And the Big Ten, I should say more specifically, Ohio State's schedule was a lot lighter than Tennessee. Because again, Ohio State's best win, you would argue, would have to be Penn State, while Tennessee's best win is Alabama. So it's debatable. Obviously, y'all know I'm more of an SEC boy. I like the SEC a lot more. I think it's the much stronger conference, and I think it determines a lot more. Will it have an effect on this game? Yes and no. Ohio State is very talented. We all know this. Offensively, they can run the ball. Judkins is a beast. They can throw the ball. They have a strong team. Howard's a good quarterback. We'll call him decent. Not great, but not bad. Better than what they had last year. The defense for Ohio State is their strong suit. And that's where they will win or lose this game. On the backbone that is the defense. If the defense shows up to play, they win. If the defense gets exposed, they lose, and they lose badly. Now, on the flip side with Tennessee, the biggest concern for them, genuinely the biggest concern that they should have, is the fact that their starting quarterback is a true freshman. He's a freshman. The man might have shit running down his legs as he's walking into that stadium, realizing how bright the lights truly are. And the lights are going to be really bright because apparently they're having a light show, I think either before the game or at halftime. I don't know. Ohio State people, you can fact check me. In any case, that would be my biggest concern. Matchup-wise, I give Tennessee the slight edge because the weakness in that strong Ohio State defense is their run defense. And the best part of Tennessee's offense is their running game. And again, weather needs to be taken into account. This is not a neutral site game. This game is going to be played in Ohio. It's going to be cold. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be disgusting. It will not be easy for a team like Tennessee, who's used to their warm-ass weather, playing consistently against warm teams, whether it be at home or away, to go up to Ohio State and play in these harsh conditions. It could and it will have an effect. Luckily for Tennessee, in these type of conditions, the best type of offense is running. And again, Tennessee shines at that. But so does Ohio State. Tennessee's defense is not too shabby, but I wouldn't call it on the level of Ohio State, personally. Will it be cold? Yes. Will that give Ohio State the advantage? Yes. But in the long run, will it mean anything? Absolutely not. The Tennessee Volunteers are going to cover the spread, and they are going to win this game as 7-point underdogs. They are going to upset Ohio State. Ohio State are fraudulent as fuck. They showed their fraudulent tendencies against Michigan, and everybody criticizes James Franklin for not being able to win the big games with Penn State, but nobody talks enough about how much of a fraud and a shit head coach Ryan Day is, aka Crying Ryan. The man does not perform well in big moments. His teams are not prepared for the biggest moments, and that will be why they lose this game. Tennessee is going to run the ball straight down Ohio State's defense's throats, literally down their throats. They will control the game, and they will win this game. On the flip side, Ohio State's going to run the ball too. Ohio State has probably a better run game than Tennessee, but Tennessee's run defense isn't as weak as Ohio State's run defense. It's going to be a running game. It's probably going to be a slow game. I'd be shocked if this is one of those offensive shootouts. I really would be. It's going to be a running-centric attack on both sides of the ball. I think they're going to have very similar strategy, but in the end, the team that has played harder level of competition, yes, I don't care if Ohio State played Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, I do not care. The SEC is better than the Big Ten, and this game will prove it to everybody. Tennessee is going to walk into Ohio State and whoop their ass. Tennessee covers, Tennessee wins. I am betting it. I really like this game. I think Tennessee has the capabilities of making a run. Ohio State are the definition of fraudulent. You look up fraudulent in the dictionary, there will be a picture of 2024 Ohio State, and right next to it, Crying Ryan. It's going to be a great round one of the college football playoff, the first ever round one of the 12-team playoff. I am so goddamn excited. These are my official predictions. Make sure to drop all your official predictions down below, and stay tuned for my reaction video to what happens in these games coming shortly after all of these games conclude.